Welcome to Coffee with a Journalist, a podcast by One Pitch, featuring well-known journalists from the top US-based publications covering technology, lifestyle and culture, health, science, products and services, and more. The goal of our show is to uncover the real person behind the real stories you love to read. We discuss their beat and news coverage, what their inbox looks like, the types of pitches they receive, and lots more. On today's episode, we're joined by Peter Adams, a reporter for Marketing Dive, an umbrella company of Industry Dive. Peter's coverage includes news, updates, and cultural trends in the marketing industry, and most recently has written about the industry shifts due to COVID-19, marketing amidst social movements, and generational consumer behavior. Today, Peter shares about his favorite canned coffee, what makes Marketing Dive's daily newsletter unique, the types of stories you can pitch him, and more. Let's hear more from Peter on the show today.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with a Journalist. Today, Peter Adams, reporter for Marketing Dive, is on the show. Hi, Peter.
Thanks so much for having me on, Beck.
Yeah. Do you have any coffee with you right now?
I don't. It's close to 4 p.m. my time, and if I drink any after, I'll be up all night for sure. So
I just finished mine.
Yeah, I am an ardent drinker earlier in the day of coffee.
Good clarification. Now, okay, so especially in your COVID lifestyle, do you drink a couple cups? Is it just you got a max, or what do you do?
Yeah, so this isn't a very sustainable way of handling it, but I'm kind of addicted to these. They're almost like energy drinks. It's like lattes in a can. The brand I buy from is La Colombe.
Ooh.
I'll do one of those in the morning and then one after lunch, and that has me pretty much set through the day. So
yeah, that's no joke. That's strong coffee out of those guys.
Honestly, a bit of a pullback from my office habits. Yeah, at the office, we have a machine installed, and it's I would make frequent trips. So if anything, I'm being a little more conservative now, which is not a good sign. But yeah.
Wow. Well, way to cut back. At least you don't have the office to distract you. Also, Peter, because this is a quote on your profile for Marketing Dive. It says you're passionate about movies, especially if they're trash. Please expand.
I grew up being really into horror movies, 80s horror movies in particular, B movies, sci-fi stuff. We actually had a channel that I don't think exists anymore called Monsters HD, and as part of our cable package. And whenever my parents were away, I would sneak in a viewing of something. And I just watched this weekend actually the Blob remake from the late 80s, and there's a very young Matt Dillon with very 80s hair in it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Wait, what is that called? Let me tee that up. Is it on Netflix? Where is it at?
I rented it. I will shell out to check out a movie I'm interested in. I'm not dedicated or look for low quality YouTube rips, but
Ooh, also a good source. Okay. So what's your favorite 80s horror movie?
The Thing.
The Thing. Yes.
Yeah. But pretty much any John Carpenter stuff, all that. I have a real love for that whole aesthetic. And I also really like something like Stranger Things captures that pretty well.
Yes.
So I'm big into that type of programming, or like Stephen King adaptations.
You know, my sister used to watch this. What was it? It was on the Sci-Fi Network where the little aliens like commented on the B movies. What was that called?
Mystery Science Theater 3000, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes. I hope that's on the internet somewhere.
They brought it back briefly. I know Jonah Ray hosted it, but I think it got canceled. But that's definitely one of those shows where they could ratchet that back, and cheap. Yeah,
it's puppets talking to nothing. Production cost on that's nothing.
Yeah, no, but that's the right ballpark for my taste as well. Yeah. It's just also been a thing my roommates and I have been doing.
Oh yeah, it's a perfect COVID activity.
Yeah, and we do like movie nights and stuff, and we'll piss off any guests we have just talking through them.
I love it. I want to. You should start recording them, and you do your own little like YouTube series or something.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, Peter, for those who are not aware, what is Marketing Dive?
Yeah, so we're a daily newsletter publication. We're under the umbrella of a digital media company called Industry Dive. Sort of similar to our model, we focus most of our coverage on digital transformation's impact on the industry, whether it's brand strategies and trying to reach consumers or the behind the scenes stuff the partners they're working with, whether it's agencies or increasingly consultancies. And then we've over time also ramped up our coverage of, advertising technology, ad tech, martech, all that stuff, which is in some ways become one of the bigger stories in our industry. But, and yeah, our content model is the idea is, an executive wakes up in the morning and here's the news they need to know. Our key content format is called The Brief, that just has the biggest bits of news up top, and then we do sort of informed analyses down below to give a little more fleshed out insight to the story.
Yeah, it's quite compact. You get what you need. You can move on. You don't need to scan through 40 different articles. I like it.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, tell us, how's your inbox looking these days? Is it filled with pitches? Is it mostly crap? What's going on?
This is definitely a quiet period of the year.
Oh.
August, early September always is. I think a lot of people are still out on vacation, and maybe some of the fall plans haven't ramped up as much. We're starting to see some more of it trickle in, but I feel like the combination of it being a slow period and also everything else that's going on to hit to bottom lines, the peeling back on some marketing budgets, it's quieter than it usually is. And just as like a personal thing, I tend to keep my inbox pretty clean.
Oh, now are you one of the zero inbox people?
Yeah, I try to be. Sometimes I will put things off. I am a habitual procrastinator, so inevitably I have one or two that I need to get back to and don't in the near term. But in my ideal world, yes, I don't like the numbers being there. I don't like the little red notification.
I do not like that.
Yeah. Which is bad because on like a long weekend, like this past Memorial Day weekend, I was checking my inbox because I don't want there to be like 70 emails when I get back into work the next day.
Oh yeah, because then you're like, God, I'm already in the hole.
Yeah,
I'm already in the hole, and it's I don't like that stress. I'm on the same page with you. I'm always inbox zero every like 48 hours. I can't do it every day, but it's got to be pretty clean.
Yeah.
Now, how many pitches do you get though? Would you say on a weekly basis?
On a weekly basis, it's probably close to 100, I would say.
Oh, that's not crazy.
Yeah, it might be a little farther north. Yeah, I don't actually quantify it that much. But yeah, no, it's a lot. It's a lot to sort through for sure. And that's one of the reasons why I get a little anal retentive about making sure it's, cleared out. So I really only focus on the ones that I need to respond to in the near term.
Is there any subject one that particularly grabs you?
Yeah, I mean, if there's a breaking piece of news, we'll cover most things that impact marketers, but we have a very servicey model almost. Like I said earlier, we want to make sure stakeholders in our industry are kind of getting the news that matters to them and thinking about, actionable takeaways they could have on it. So if I get something that's like, TikTok could be acquired by Microsoft and Walmart, the broad landscape stuff, that's first of all going to be covered everywhere, but it also doesn't serve as much value to our readers. But if you can come to me and say, we have an agency expert who works in social media and knows how this will affect marketers' strategies, like day of when it happens. Like that's
helpful.
Something I will at least read. I mean, there's no guarantee I'll use it in a story, but
yeah. So then, for when you are writing a piece and you're doing this brief, what gives you the kernel of the idea to do a story? Does it ever come from a pitch, for example?
Yes and no. I mean, I would never say that you can get a story idea anywhere. And some people sometimes come to you and they say, we have a brand that's working on a really interesting campaign or with an interesting technology partner. And, we try and focus on brand side activations. So those are things I will definitely look into, case studies as well. But for the most part, again, looking at the servicier side of journalism and what we do, if I write 3 briefs on a particular type of campaign, using a certain technology or a certain platform, like within a week of each other, and it all kind of looks the same, like that's a story idea for our readers. Why are all these companies jumping on a trend at a particular time? Why do these all look the same? Is it worth getting in on that? And then how can you kind of activate it in a unique fashion?
Mm-hmm. Are you ever taking a walk, drinking your crazy coffee, and you're like, ooh, something just pinged me. It's from the ether.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I got to do something on that.
For sure. I think part of that also is the way I'm into TV, I'm into movies, I'm into pop culture, and a lot of that stuff is ad supported. So I'll just be browsing platforms and see something and say, oh, wow, like that's new or that's interesting. But for sure, yeah, I'll have those just sort of thinking about something because I've been doing this long enough now that my brain is wired to think, oh, what's the implication for marketers?
Yeah, exactly.
A story I started working on at the time we were recording this, it was after some of these player boycotts in the NBA, that has huge implications for marketers. That might not be the main takeaway for a general news audience who's more focused on, the activism, social justice side. But, that's something to look forward to as, NFL season kickoff is next week. Like,
Yep.
is there something going to happen there?
Ooh, I don't know, but it's juicy to think about. Like, God, I think too, like in this time where you're like, okay, I'm, running the multi-million budget of Pepsi. Like, God, where do you even park your dollars?
Yeah.
You don't, what are you going to do? You're going to do a Super Bowl ad? Like, yeah. In a way, I'm like, yes, because everyone's home. So what else? Where else they going? Might as well. Anyway, interesting time if you're dealing with like mega budgets to think about, well, where do you park that?
I don't envy those people for sure.
No, I don't. No. Yeah.
Today's interview will continue after this brief message brought to you by OnePitch. Are you curious to learn more about the unique ways OnePitch helps connect journalists with brands and sources? Head to onepitch.co for more information about how we're helping each side save time and connect more effectively. Sign up for your free account today. Now, back to today's episode.
Quick word association game, Peter. So I'm going to give you a word and then you just tell us what you think. First word out of your mouth.
Okay.
Let's do it. Food.
Chinese.
Drink.
Coffee.
Hobby.
Drawing.
TikTok.
Hectic.
Advertising.
Trouble.
Yes. Gen Z.
Elusive.
Virtual events.
Repetitive.
Branding.
Tedious.
Facebook.
Bad.
Agencies.
That's another trouble spot. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. I'm sorry.
Trouble spot. There you go. Journalism.
Precarious.
Pitch.
Response.
Wow, that is the first time I've ever heard someone say that in a positive thing, in a positive way.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Yes, you're the only. Good for you. Peter, we know you are into the movies and the B movies and so forth, but what do you read?
Yeah, this is maybe bad journalism practice, but when I'm off the clock, if you can be in this profession, I tend to read a lot of fantasy. I'm currently reading a book called Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke, which, interestingly enough, intersection with marketing when it came out back almost 2 decades ago or something. I think it was like 2002 or 2003. Had one of the biggest marketing campaigns in publishing history.
Oh, really? Oh.
Maybe just in the UK, but a really significant push behind it. It was billed as Harry Potter for adults, but it's basically about an alternate history where magic exists in England, and it's a tome. I mean, I've read it. It's like 800 pages or something. I've read a lot of really long books during this period because I need to occupy my downtime in a big way.
Yeah, it's like an Atlas Shrugged level one. Jeez.
Yeah, fantasy's a big escape. Also read a lot of Ursula K. Le Guin. I'd never read any of her before, but I bought all the Earthsea books at the start of this.
And how are those?
It's kind of like Harry Potter, originally written for children, but there's quite a bit in there that's relevant to today and pretty rich thematically. And, she had a lot of interesting viewpoints on the world and on fantasy's function in literature.
Oh, yeah. So she wrote A Wizard of Earthsea.
Yeah.
Found in the Lost, right? This is coming back to me.
Yeah. And, her books, they have sort of the typical staples of the genre. There's dragons and magic, but, she's not very deliberately not centered on, war or fighting. It's very character driven, and it has just kind of interesting insights to say about, one I most recently finished, The Tombs of Adawan, was about being very bought into a certain worldview based on the way you're raised and how you kind of crack out of that shell. So there's a lot of kind of great lessons in there, and she's a really vivid writer.
I always get all my book recommendations from this podcast.
Yeah, not a bad channel to get it.
It's my number one source. No, it's not. Now, is there anything you read on the daily, like newsletters or anything from the internet that keeps you up to speed?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I try and check all of the, traditional trades. I read Ad Age, and I'm a subscriber to Adweek, The Drum, Campaign, Digiday. And then, in terms of the broader business publications, I read Bloomberg every day. I read the Journal and the CMO Today newsletter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You do the rounds. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. It's the first thing I do in the morning when I've got my dangerous energy shot drink. Yeah.
Turbocharging through all those things. Yes.
Probably the best period to retain information. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, that's like, that actually is my favorite time in the morning when you're like, okay, I'm getting ready to like sit down and crank. I'm fueled and I'm like poised to go.
Yeah. But by the time we send out our newsletters and we're at the midday break, I definitely need to like take a walk or something.
Yeah, you're on the downhill at that point, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Peter, is the future of journalism looking like? You haven't been in journalism too long.
No, 4 years now.
Only since about, 4 years or so.
Or at least working.
Yes. Would you tell yourself back then, maybe 5 years plus, hey, yeah, definitely go into this industry?
I think I would. There's plenty of analysis out there. It's as important as ever. Getting to the truth of the matter, even though the scrutiny is so much higher, it kind of reinforces that being a good, diligent watchdog for institutions is invaluable.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things my professors in college, reinforced to me is, getting into B2B. I did not plan on, when I was an aspiring student coming up, writing about marketing and advertising. I don't really know anyone who did, even other people in my space. But there's niches out there that need to be filled for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the easy insight or takeaway is to say, write about what you love or what you know. But in terms of like being a good journalist, I think part of it is learning new things. I didn't know anything about the mechanics of advertising and marketing, and it's been exciting and a kind of eye-opening experience to do that for the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would definitely kind of reaffirm that commitment.
And did you, in your younger days, did you have a moment as a kid? Some people have as a kid, like, oh my gosh, when I was 10, I had this teacher say my writing was amazing and that inspired me to like, did you have something like that? Or was it kind of like, oh, I took a class and cool, I fell into it?
Yeah, definitely English teachers I had in high school. It was the first time I'd ever felt positive about anything academic related was writing. I never thought of myself as particularly smart or insightful until high school when I wrote some papers and got feedback that was like, you could potentially do this. And then, I joined my high school newspaper, and I was initially a film critic, which was my first.
Yes, how you got into that? Didn't you also write for Northwestern's university's paper too?
Their digital publication, or it's also a quarterly magazine, but it's predominantly, most of their content is digital. North by Northwestern. I started out there doing nightly TV recaps and eventually kind of evolved to cover more student-based stuff.
Wow, you were doing nightly?
Yeah.
Like Monday through Friday on the college cable channel thing?
No, not necessarily. Nightly is not the right word to describe it. I was just doing recaps of TV shows. So if an episode aired at like 11, I would have to have something up for the next morning.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's time pressured for a college campus. My God.
I was less diligent about my sleep schedule back then for sure, which is probably why I have a crippling caffeine addiction at this point.
That's what happens. Well, to round out our time today, Peter, we're going to play a little Mad Libs. So I'm going to tee you up with the phrase or whatever it is, and then I'm going to read back the whole thing.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. First of all, a catchphrase.
To be a big dork when I'm going to do my company's one, which is serve the reader.
Okay. Journalist scare phrase.
Oh, man. A correction request.
Correction request. Empowering journalism word, buzzword, something positive.
Watchdog.
An adjective.
Expeditiously.
Damn, that's great. Part of a pitch.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick. There you go.
I've gotten that one a few times recently.
Wait. Really?
Yeah.
Your name's Peter.
Yes.
Do you go by Patrick? Like, how does that happen?
Just someone kind of fumbling the ball.
Wow. Okay, another adjective.
Strong.
Another part of a pitch.
Reaching out on behalf of my client.
I don't like that. We'll just go with reaching out. Okay. Amount of time.
A day.
Another adjective.
Forcefully.
And then how about a singular noun?
Cow.
Cow. And then we're almost done. A topic.
Ad tech.
And then a verb ending in ing.
Running.
Running. God, someone else today mentioned that. This is the third time I've heard running.
One of my things I've been trying to do to keep my head off everything else. Yeah.
Your aspiring hobbies. Excellent. And then another verb.
Throw.
Okay. All right. Are we ready?
This is gonna be something really special. I can tell already.
Oh, I think so. Sometimes they're accurate. Let's see. To me, tech journalism is serving the reader. It consists of correction requests and being a watchdog on the daily. If a pitch has an expeditiously, "Hey, Patrick," I will absolutely respond to it. However, if a pitch has a strong, "just reaching out," you can expect no reply from me. If a day goes by and you don't see an email back from me, you can just assume I am not forcefully about it. The best stories always have cows and are usually about ad tech. And the best way to reach me is by running it over to me, but you can also throw it to me.
Nice. Not half bad.
I love it. Love it.
Kind of on the money. I've recently written a campaign about cows, so that's one of the reasons they were top of mind. Yeah.
Wait, which story was this? I didn't see this I see a Ben and Jerry's piece, but what?
There was a Burger King campaign a few weeks ago that's about sustainability. They're trying to cut down on methane emissions from cows.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, how's that going?
That actually ended up proving a little controversial, I think, but I don't know.
Well, thank you for being on today, Peter. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Coffee with the Journalist featuring Peter Adams from Marketing Dive. If you like our show, make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. And if you have a moment, leave us a review to share your thoughts about the show in today's episode. To learn more about the latest tools on OnePitch, head to our website at onepitch.co and see the unique ways we're helping public relations professionals pitch journalists more effectively. We'll be back next week with an all-new guest and even more insights about the journalist you want to learn more about. Until then, start great stories.